Hello, my name is Jim Moran, and thanks very much for joining us for Putting Risk in Its Place. You can reach me at jim@simplifyiso.com, or over here on our website, you'll see a tab called Contact. Managing risk is one of the best ways to ensure organizational resilience. Without any attention paid to risk, it's impossible to imagine that you could continue successfully for any sustained period of time. Now, a couple of approaches. You can cross your fingers and hope that you've got risk under control, or you can build a structure and use a method to determine risks, analyze risks, and develop risk mitigation strategies or risk management strategies. Remember, too, that the word risk is always accompanied by the word opportunity in the ISO standards that we're all familiar with. So to give it a little bit of structure, if you're not using anything like failure modes effects analysis, or if you're not using the reversed Ishikawa fishbone diagram that I've talked about in the past, you might want to have a look at ISO 31000. You can see here that ISO 31000 is organized in principles, framework, and process. Over the next 3 videos, I'll be going into each of these areas specifically. Spend a little bit more time on them, but today I just wanted to make you aware of what the areas were and a little bit about each one. So let's get started with the principles. You'll see on this principles slide that it begins with, or sort of the overview, is value creation and protection. Naturally, we want to create value with a program like this. There's no point of investing time and effort into something in your organization and not get a return on the investment. And depending on where you start, let's start with the integrated piece of the pie. Naturally, you want to have risk as part of everything you do, not something you do extra or do on top of everything else. You need to be structured, and risk approach needs to be comprehensive, not just bits and pieces here and there across the organization. Customized, of course, because a cookie cutter approach would never work for risk management. The program needs to be inclusive, running the full length of your organizational activities and the support activities along with it. Dynamic, continually monitored, updated, needs to be based on the best available information. You'll never have all of the information. There's never going to be a time when you have 100% of the available information. You have to be satisfied with using the best that you have to work with. Naturally, human and cultural factors play a huge role in this, and once the system gets up and running, you want to make sure that you're continually improving it. So that gives you a little look at the principles. Then we move on to this thing called framework. And you can see here there's a bit of a framework in ISO 31000 based on leadership and commitment. No surprise there. All of the standards that you're familiar with include leadership, and usually in section 5. And leadership and commitment is the foundation for all of your programs in your organization. And no surprise, here's integration as a key component of the framework. You'll notice the design obviously is critical and needs to be guided by leadership. Leadership will be encouraging implementation, and leadership needs to understand how well it's working through evaluation and guide the improvements that you'll want to have for your risk activities. And the last part of the diagram you'll see is process. Naturally, ISO 9001 promotes the process approach and risk-based thinking. It's one of management's requirements in section 5.1.1. So if you want to take away the finger crossing and hoping that you've covered everything, you want to have a process. You'll notice here the process includes some very useful ideas. If you look at the overview, you'll first of all have to start with the scope, content, criteria of the risk management program, and begin by doing this activity called risk assessment, which is made up of identifying the risk, analyzing the risk, and evaluating the risk. Then you're ready to design a risk treatment. On the right here, you'll see that once the treatment is implemented, you'll be wanting to monitor it and review it. You'll record the results and report on the results. You'll see in ISO 9001 9.1.3 Clause E requires that you assess the effectiveness of your risk and opportunity activities, and you also have to review it in 9.3.2 E in management review. So there's where the recording and the reporting would fit in. Finally, the communication and consultation is critical to make sure that the cycle is complete and giving you a good return on your investment. Ultimate goal, of course, increasing organizational resilience. Thanks very much for having a look. Next video will go into some details on the principles. And if you'd like to see if our platform could help you manage your risk activities better, hop over here to our website. You'll see this big green button near the bottom to schedule a demo. We'll be looking forward to seeing you next time for all the details on the principles, and bye for now.